Hello, this is Christy from headingsomewhere.org. Today I thought I'd talk to you a little bit about our journey with home education, because I thought, well, if I'm sharing about home education, I might as well tell about how we got here. Because recently I was chatting with some friends and I realized, you know what, we've been doing this long enough now that I'm a seasoned home educator. I can't really pinpoint an exact time when we started, because we've been doing it pretty much since our first was born. It's just never, sending our children to school has never really been an option because we talked about home educating before we even got married. Leon and I did. Since we started early on, it has been a mindset and a lifestyle for us, which we obviously wholeheartedly embrace. Although I have to say it's taken me a while to embrace the mindset because I'm a teacher by trade. I have experience as a substitute teacher and as a pre-kindergarten teacher, and so my training has never really allowed me to imagine that I would ever home educate my children. It wasn't until about 15 years ago that I thought, well, actually, home education really isn't such a bad thing, because I met a handful of people who had graduated from homeschooling in America. And over time and countless conversations about it, my mind has changed about it. And here I am, I'm now home educating my own children. So let's fast forward a few years to when my eldest two were 3 years old and just 1 year old. School was approaching, and I had some well-meaning friends and even some complete strangers start asking when we were going to start sending our children to nursery school. It prompted me to start looking more deeply into homeschooling, to figure out what philosophy or what pedagogy, if you will, that we wanted to use in our home education. And I dove into just basic traditional preschool activities, and I tried some Montessori things, but my eldest just wasn't having it. He just wanted to be a boy and to play. He still does. But that's the beauty of home ed, right? So it was a missionary mom who got me interested in Ambleside Online. So I initially checked out AO, but I'd also seen a few things on Pinterest about it. And it was my initial encounter with Charlotte Mason's way of life, I thought, or way of education. I thought, hey, this is something I could do, because we really love the outdoors, and I've always really loved, as a teacher, I really loved quality literature. I believe that children should have the best access to the best literature. So to gain a brief understanding, because I was several months pregnant with number 3 when I first started learning about Charlotte Mason. I really didn't have the brain capacity to do anything else. I went and bought Susan Schaefer Macaulay's For the Children's Sake, because that's just what everyone new to Charlotte Mason read at the time. And even though I read the book, life got crazy, and all things home education just got put in the back seat for quite some time. Those stories are in my blog if you really want to know what happened during that time. So 2 years later, I once again started exploring various home education philosophies with a particular focus on Charlotte Mason. there's just something really interesting to me about her gentle, holistic approach. As I've talked before about holistic education, it's very important to me. We tried various rhythms in our family over time, but nothing really stuck consistently. Nothing really worked. And however, things changed for us when I started implementing Charlotte Mason's approach. So with a Charlotte Mason approach, the early years are not academic at all. It talks about just letting a child be a child, to have a childhood. We spend lots of time outdoors. We read lots of good quality literature before the formal school years happen and we start focusing more on the academics every year. So that, and those are just the Charlotte Mason education encompasses so much more, but those are the things that I wanted to focus on at the time, because that was all my brain could focus on at the time. Our fourth child had been born by that point, and having a newborn at home and starting a new routine wasn't necessarily a good idea. Yeah. So now we are several years into our home education journey with Charlotte Mason. We've had our ups and downs through that time. Right now we have our eldest is starting secondary school this year. My second eldest is in upper primary school, and I still have two at home who are enjoying that quiet growing time that Charlotte Mason talks about in her writings. The more we pursue a Charlotte Mason education, I found, the more I can see how the effectiveness and how it works. I still get times when my internal teacher brain says, hey, you're not doing enough. But as I said, the more we pursue a Charlotte Mason inspired lifestyle, the more I can see how those doubts are fading away and how it helps us to embrace truth, beauty, and goodness in our education. It's a beautiful way of life, really, and it's one that will instill in our children and in us too as parents a lifelong love of learning, and that's really what's important. So that is how we got started